Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back with some more FIFA 20. Happy Friday, everyone. Friday the 10th of January 2020. I can already see Book is in the chat. How's it going, dude? I hope you have had a good day today. So yeah, as I say, guys, we are back with some more FIFA 20. So last time the episode took a bit long for us to actually play anything in the Premier League, but when we did play, we come up against Chelsea and we drew that game 1-1. We currently sat in 12th, so it's not really a good barometer to judge anything from it. I say we drew it 1-1. We actually drew it 0-0. What I meant to say was we actually got 1 point from it. So yeah, we're sat around mid-table. Obviously, one game in, you can't really judge anything. We can see Arsenal at the top. They scored 5 goals in their first game. I don't know who they must have scored that against. Crystal Palace. Liverpool, surprisingly, are in 19th place. Obviously, a stark contrast to what they are doing so far in this season in the Premier League. But, as you know, it's only one game in, so it's a bit difficult to actually judge anything at the moment. But yeah, so we are in the Premier League. We made it into the Premier League last season. We only played one game in the Premier League in last episode. Obviously, we had the pre-season tournament that we did go on to win, I believe. I think, if I remember rightly, we did go on to win that pre-season tournament. And yeah, we signed a few players into our squad. We're going to sim forward. I think our next game in the Premier League, it doesn't get any easier for us. We come up against Chelsea in our first game, and our second game is an away match, I believe, against Liverpool. So an away game against Liverpool in their own backyard, Anfield, is not going to be great. It's not going to be easy. We tried out playing with world-class difficulty, or whatever the difficulty above professional was last time. We didn't really have too much fun. Obviously, I'm not great at FIFA. I'll just say that at the start. But yeah, it didn't work out for us, so we have dropped it back down to professional. Maybe in a couple of more seasons' time, when we do have better players in the Premier League, we might bring it back up a little bit. We have a transfer offer for Edson Ray still. I mean, there's just absolutely no way that we're getting rid of him. Martin Cordero, however, you can go out on loan, mate. Why not? You need some game time. You're probably not going to play for us. Do I need any more signings? Well, I don't think so, actually. I feel like we've actually got a decent team. We've got a decent amount of depth. We've got quite a few players in our reserves. Some of those players we need to get rid of. We've got a couple of players who are going to be going out on loan as well fairly soon. Maybe another left back. I mean, we did switch it to a 4-4-2 last time out. The thing is, I don't really like that. I wasn't really enjoying the way that we were playing with a 4-4-2 in the last episode. I don't know what formation we should be playing. I kind of liked playing the 3-1-4-2 that we had before that. So sort of something like that, I think, is what we were doing before, but we sort of advanced the... oh, I don't want to do that. I want to go to the squad, and I want to just move these guys into the left wing and right wing. We obviously got Devechi in last episode as well, who is this guy, who's a right winger. Can play in the striker position. He came in as a free agent, 21 years old. We can't sign Upamecano. We tried, we looked at him, and he's got like a 50 million, 60 million buyout. I think maybe even 100 million. I think he's at Real Madrid. But yeah, we got this guy Devechi. He seems to be okay. I feel like he is maybe perhaps... It says his defensive work rate is low, but he always seemed to be running back to defend in the last episode, and that sort of frustrated me, and he wasn't really being utilised going forward. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if we actually need any more signings at the moment. Obviously, like I say, I feel like we've got a decent enough team to be competitive. Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to this formation. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'll change it up later on, but this formation at the moment seems to be suiting me. We obviously have got, what's his name? We've got Adama Traore. Who we were playing as a right back, but he gets us forward way too much. His attacking work rate is far too high to be playing in a right back. Obviously, we can rotate him with Devechi, which is brilliant. I mean, his pace is just insane. 99 pace. I mean, look at that. I mean, he's only got 79 physical, which is a bit just ridiculous. No, from Chelsea, that kid who we scouted, or Ampadu. Talking about Ampadu. We could look at Ampadu. Our defense is like okay, I guess. Yeah, our defense is sort of okay at the moment. Where is he? Is he on our list? He should be on our list, right? He's got to be on our list. Maybe he's on our scouting list. Do have Eze there as well, who's 82 from my beloved QPR. Got quite a few players. We've got Grealish in there, who's still in there. Cam CM. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, I feel like we've got a decent all-round squad. I don't know if we're going to change it too much. We're going to go ahead and sim forward, though. I don't want to spend too much time talking as we did in last episode, but I'm going to go ahead, sim forward a couple of days, come up against Liverpool, as I say, away from home. I think that's probably the best team that we can put out there. Sanchez Ribas is up to an 86 rated player, which is sensational. I mean, I think that's probably the best team that we can put out at the moment. Yeah, it seems like the best thing we can put out. Let's get straight into it, guys. We're not going to hang around. Yo, Saraguli, hello, how are you? You are an Iranian boy. How's it going, man? Hope you had a good day, dude. I hope you've had a fantastic day. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Oh, that's going to overflow. Ah, no. Sorry, I'm trying to pour myself a beer, and I'm not really good at pouring myself a beer. So now I'm going to have beer all over my desk. But hey ho, you know. Let's get into it, guys. What? Your picture for me no come. My picture? I don't know. My picture as in you can't see the video? Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year, dude. Here we go, at Anfield. Oh, man. This is going to be a bit of a daunting task. They got Alisson in goal. I imagine he's still got Van Dijk at the back as well, maybe. Yeah, here he is. Van Dijk is still there. This isn't going to be easy for our strikers. We have switched back to our formation that saw us win the championship last season, the 3-1-4-2. We do have a decent team. I'm not hopeful. They've still got Mane. They probably still have Salah. I don't know if Salah's moved on. I'm not expecting anything great from this. Oh my god, look at that. He's offside. He's offside. It was offside. It was definitely offside. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. It was I could see it was offside. Look at that. Look. You don't even have to draw the line there. Come on. I don't know why it took him so long to make that decision. I mean, it was nervy times for us. If he wasn't offside, it would have been a goal, clearly. But oh, Greenwood is through. Greenwood. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Straight away, they had a chance to score, and we go down the other end and immediately get one. Sanchez Ribas plays the ball through to Mason Greenwood. Let's go, guys. That's what I'm talking about. What a way to start this episode. A defence splitting pass from Sanchez Ribas. Greenwood with the outside of his left pet boot fires it past Alisson. Look at that. Fantastic start to this game. Stunning the Anfield faithful inside the first 10 minutes here. 1-0, Mason Greenwood, let's go. Still relatively young. Him playing up alongside Sanchez Ribas is definitely going to give him a lot more experience. And, you know, Sanchez Ribas has been with us for a good couple of seasons. I'd maybe say at least 3 seasons, I think. Here's Salah. Salah is still there. I don't know if they've got Firmino. I don't know if they've still got the old guard playing there. Or Salah, they've gone outside to Salah. We have managed to intercept that. Oh my god, what is that pass? Sloppy. Good defending though from Lombo Suarez. That's it, play it forward. Wait for the time. Oh, you see Devechi. Devechi is running now. Devechi. Oh, he's through. There we go. I think that might be his first goal for us. His first goal for us. The free agent signing, who is absolutely sensational. Look at him, 21 years old, 85 rated. Come on, that's what I'm talking about. 2-0. I know we're down a difficulty to professional, but trust me, if we were playing on world class, I would not be enjoying this. I don't care. I mean, it's 2-0 against Liverpool. Liverpool, I don't know. They seem like they've still got all of the good players that they should have. Perhaps it's not just gelling for them at the moment. You know, Salah and Mane have been nullified thus far. They haven't really had too much possession between the two of them. Devechi is cutting back inside again. Devechi! Oh, ref! Penalty! There we go! We are all over this Liverpool side at the moment. As I say, I mean, it's only professional difficulty, but we are all over them. I can't believe that they've gotten away with that by not giving a red card Jurgen Klopp looking a bit dejected on the sideline, really. We've got Sanchez Ribas to take this. We're going to go and try and aim to the goalkeeper's right-hand side, our left. There we go, Sanchez Ribas. Goalkeeper doesn't move. Alisson Becker planted on the spot. 3-0. Sanchez Ribas makes it 3-0 with the penalty. Let's go. I mean, I honestly could not have asked for a better start to this. Sanchez Ribas, the top goal scorer last season in the Championship, got his first goal now in the Premier League. Hopefully he can, you know, push on from here. Maybe grab 20 goals this season. That would be fantastic. I don't know. I don't know if it's like some kind of psychological thing, but 4-4-2 last episode wasn't great, and now we've switched back to the formation that we won the Championship with, and we immediately are 3-0 up against Liverpool. So, as I say, I don't know if that's like a psychological thing. I don't know if it's just me thinking that it's a better formation, but it seems to be working. And I'm not going to complain when it seems to be working, so let's go. Greenwood is through again. He's looking for someone to pass it to. Oh, we should have just ran forward with Greenwood. I don't know why I'm trying to be too intricate there. I should have just run forward with Greenwood, and potentially we could have made it 4-0 and certainly put this game to bed. I mean, more or less this game was put to bed already, but you never can be too sure. Linz is bombing forward now, looking for Greenwood. He is definitely onside. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, guys! How? What a ball through to Linz. I think it was just level. I don't know. Look, Alisson sort of hesitates to come off his line. I thought I was going to go over. I thought it was going to go straight into the goalkeeper's hands. But look at that. Greenwood sees the goalkeeper a fair way off his line, and we just managed to chip it over the top. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we scored that. What a way to go 4-0 up. I mean, Greenwood's got 2 in this game. I honestly don't know what's happening, because last time out playing on, like, I know we were playing on world class, and it just seemed a whole lot more difficult to play on world class. It seemed as if there should be like a intermediate difficulty between professional and world class. Oh my gosh, we're getting done now. We're getting done. That's easy for Pereira. Fish indeed, Book. Fish indeed. Ian Holloway's flat cap army. Let's go. Oh, De Vecchi. Oh my gosh, who is this kid? Who is this kid? Oh, Alisson makes a smart save. De Vecchi, though, is really coming into his own so far. He's showing off his pace. He does have like 90 finishing, I believe, as well. Which, I mean, for a 21-year-old is just fantastic. They are forced to get it clear. I mean, the Anfield crowd are stunned at the moment. 4-0 against the newly promoted team, Grimsby Town. They mustn't believe what they're seeing. Oh, Cabral, perhaps not the best option there to shoot, with Van Dijk coming across to shut him down. There will be 3 minutes of added time here at the end of the first half, and the ball over the top to Mane on the far side. Just a bit too long for him to control. Oh, De Vecchi, what are you doing? Oh, unlucky, mate. GTFC army. Basically, mate. Basically. What is it? You guys have got Leyton Orient, I think, on the weekend, right? I think it's Leyton Orient. I saw a post about it on the Grimsby Town Instagram page. I believe that Grimsby are playing Leyton Orient this weekend. It should be a good game. I mean, hopefully Holloway can keep up his I like to say it's like unbeaten run. He's came into the club and they won one game. I mean, it's been a long time coming for Grimsby after the sort of tough times that they've been through, but hopefully he can, you know, continue to work on getting them back to, you know, a respectable position in League Two. Sanchez Ribas, oh my gosh, 5-0 just after the half. Again, I don't know if this is like a psychological thing and I'm just playing a bit better with this formation, or if this is like just how different the difficulty settings are, because 5-0 away from home inside an hour against Liverpool at Anfield, that should not be happening. but somehow it is. We have enjoyed a lot more possession than they have. We have been fantastic going forward so far. Greenwood is looking for Devechi now. Devechi playing it back to Greenwood. Sanchez rebasses there. Oh my gosh, this is going to be easy. Goalkeeper's coming running out. Alisson gets there just in time before Cabral. I have honestly no idea how this is happening. Like I say, I mean, I've down the difficulty back down to professional, but I didn't think it was going to be as easy as it has been. Obviously, we played against Chelsea in the last episode on professional difficulty, and it was difficult, you know. I think that maybe it was just that 4-4-2 formation, you know. Oh, Pereira, I mean, it's straight at him, but it comes at him with a lot of pace behind it. I think that's Milinkovic-Savic with this shot from just inside the 18-yard area. I mean, yeah, look at it. It comes straight at him, but it is hit with a lot of power. Salah is taking the corner now, aimed for Van Dijk. Van Dijk picks up the second chance. Salah tries to play it across the face of goal. We only get it half clear. Ball is still with us. Somehow we managed to get it away. Salah is, however, offside. So we can take a little bit of a break. Who is that? It looks like... Is that Tammy Abraham? Playing for Liverpool? It is. It's Tammy Abraham. Now, playing for Liverpool. Oh my gosh, what's going on there?
In the Premier League is this. Join us on EA Sports.
Okay, so I've just seen as well in the top left-hand corner of the screen. It's just flashed up, and I mean, I thought we had a difficult start to the season with Chelsea and Liverpool playing in them against those two guys in the first two games. But it turns out it's only going to get harder for us because we're playing a home game next against Man United. Here's Greenwood now, the little 1-2 with Sanchez rebas. Oh, it's just come off the outside of the far post there, almost bagging his hat-trick. We're making a substitution now. We're taking off Cabral, bringing on Adama Traore to play on the opposite side. But it does mean that he will be able to cut back inside and hopefully unleash some of his ferocious shot power that we all know that he has. What do I need to do? Oh, it's gone past the deadline. I think I set my captain properly. I think I set my team properly for my FPL. Obviously, West Ham are playing Sheffield United tonight. So FPL deadline is a day earlier than it would normally be. But I'm fairly certain I got Captain Vardy this weekend. Didn't really do anything in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. But they're going up against Southampton, the team that they scored 9 goals against the first time that they played them this season. So I'm hoping that he can just continue to add to his Premier League goal scoring tally today. Or not today, this weekend rather. Oh, what are you doing? Sanchez rebas. Oh, he's... Oh, that's a... Oh, that might be a red card. Oh, that's a red card. Oh, why did I do that? Oh. Oh. We need to make a substitution. Sanchez. Oh, no. Substitution. Go across to the left when I press that left button. There we go. We need to make a substitution. Do we though? Do we? I mean, it's one of our strikers. We don't really need to make a substitution. Yeah, we don't really need to. Maybe I'll take Greenwood off and maybe put Harrison on. Why not? But yeah, that's a red card. It means that he's gonna miss the next 2 games for us. So maybe Harrison might get a couple of starts. Maybe Devechi might be moved over into the striker position. We'll see how it goes. Maybe even Adama Traore will start on the right hand side and Devechi playing. Oh, they've got one back. They take advantage of the man advantage. Tammy Abraham, the sub, coming off the bench, nodding home. It's yeah, you know, I mean, there's no celebration from the Liverpool man there, really. I guess pretty much consolation goal for Liverpool. But yeah, you know, 5-1. I can't complain about that. Obviously, the clean sheet would have been nice. Harrison is running away, though. Harrison. Oh. Oh, he makes another good save. Oh, that's gone out for a corner. There we go. Gone out for a corner. Coman is coming on for Edson Race. Let's whip it in. Oh, it's way too deep for anyone. It's way too deep. What is that? What is that? I mean, it's gone out for a throw-in. That's probably the best result, or the best worst result, I guess. But yeah, I don't know what that corner was. I maybe need to create some set pieces. with the corners and see how that goes.
Grimaldo. And here we are,
Down to 10
3
men,
minutes
3
remaining.
minutes left in the second half here against Liverpool.
Abraham.
Not
Plenty of
the
width for the team to
not been the
attack
best
into.
performance from Liverpool, to be fair. We've looked solid at the back. We've looked obviously more than solid going forwards. Apart from Sanchez Ribas picking up the red card, it was a bit of a rash challenge by me. I was just getting frustrated in the middle of the pitch. Didn't even make an attempt to win the ball. It was just, yeah, like I say, out of frustration, really. Rogel, stay on him, Rogel, stay on him. That's it. Good block. Good block again, Rogel. He's coming away with it. There we go. Final whistle. 5-1. Away fans up out of their seats. Fantastic for us. Obviously, the Anfield faithful, relatively silent all around the stadium. Let's get into the post-match. Why not? It was a fantastic performance from the lads, so definitely need to give them all the praise that we can. No doubt the reporters are going to ask us about the Sanchez Ribas sending off, so let's see what they ask us.
Have you got time for a few questions?
Hey, you know what? Mistakes happen, you know, they just rush of the blood to the head. Dude, you know what? It was an impressive performance from him. Apart from that red card, it was fantastic. Hey, can Grimsby Town, you know what? After today, we're definitely starting to believe. We have to start to believe, you know. Let's see where that takes us on the table. We are up to 3rd in the table. I think our objective is to finish around mid-table. So I'm not going to focus on... I don't want it to be too easy. I'm going to sort of, yeah, do the bare minimum to make the board happy, really. Apart from, obviously, the financial, which I think might be a bit of a difficult one to achieve. I think they want us to make profit of like 65 million. Which actually may not be that difficult, but they also want us to reduce player wages by quite a substantial amount. So I don't think that's going to happen, given the players that we have signed already. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Who are we going to put in the training? I mean, we've got all of these good youngsters. We will see. I don't want to put Davis in because he's going to be too good. Linz is already too good. Maybe we put Moore in. Why not? We need to put Mason Moore in there. Let us... What is going to give us the most improvement on Mason Moore? Doesn't really seem to be anything that is going to give us a good amount of improvement. Maybe if we go to passing, maybe that's what he needs to improve on. Sign at centre back. What I said, that plays for Chelsea. Yeah, Ethan Ampadu. He's being scouted at the moment. Yeah, he's being scouted at the moment. I don't know how long it is for him to be scouted, but yeah, I do think we are scouting him at the moment, or at least I'm fairly certain that we started scouting him in last episode. I'll just have another check just for you, mate, but I'm fairly certain we are scouting him. Purdue. Yeah, we've got 2 days remaining on him. We do have 2 days remaining. Depends if he's got a buyout clause or not. I don't know how we're doing financially, to be honest. Okay, so we got 18 million and 46k wage budget. Our profit is 40.7. I mean, if we look at the financial, yeah, we definitely haven't reduced player wages. I feel like with that 40.79 million, the trying to get that amount of money is probably going to be relatively easy, actually. Loan offer for Stefan Fowey. Yeah, we already accepted that. I don't know why that comes up twice there. I'll see if I can sign Ampadu. Why not? I mean, he's still relatively young. He's going to be only improving. So there we go. We've got some scout updates coming back. Cordero has been loaned out. We've got Ethan Ampadu, scout coming in. Doesn't have a release clause. He's 14.5 million, 72k wage. We could do a cheeky offer on him. Why not? Like I say, I like to listen to what you guys have to say, as always. So let's see if we can sign Ethan Ampadu, good young centre back from Chelsea. Look at that. We're trying to do an offer, trying to make a deal with none other than Frank Lampard. Let's go in for 15 million. Okay, we'll accept that transfer fee. We'll also want to include sell-on clause and receive 7% of the transfer fee. Yeah, cool. That's fine enough for me. We might have to adjust the transfer budget slightly just so that we can afford his wages, but it shouldn't have to be affected too much. As I say, guys, I mean, I thought it was going to be a tough start to the Premier League, regardless of who we played, but to come up against Chelsea, Liverpool, and now we're playing against Man United in our next game, it's not going to be easy. It's definitely not going to be easy, but yeah, I mean, we're not going to play the game, we're going to sim it, but yeah, what we're going to do first is we're going to get this Ampadu deal over the line. Hopefully we can snap him up fairly quickly. Let's get in to negotiate his weekly wages to convince him to move to Grimsby Town from Chelsea. I'm surprised he's only worth 15 million. I mean, he still looks like a bit of a baby, really. He is going to be important. 4 years, that's cool. We'll have him until he's 27 years old. I don't want to get rid of him. No, that's fine. Release clauses out of the window. Let's talk about it. Wage, I'll give you 75k, mate. I'll give you a cheeky 75k. See if he wants that. Slightly improved wages. There we go. 75k a week with Ethan Ampadu. That's how I'm not going to be reducing my wages. I definitely am not going to be doing that after signing someone with that amount of money. So I feel like that's pretty much out of the door. Sanchez Ribas is yeah, he is, yeah, let's just say he's out for a couple of games. Devechi then will take his place at the top of the pitch, and Adama Traore will replace him on the right hand side. So I think that's probably the best we can do. We are going to go ahead and put Lee on the bench, and then also Ampadu on the bench as well, ahead of Marquise de Oliveira. Maybe even put him in the starting 11 for his debut game against Man United. Demote Rogel down to the bench. I feel like that's a decent enough team. We've obviously got Lopez Galache in there as well, so we do have a good, strong reserves bench. And yeah, like I say, we'll sim this game against Man United, see how it goes. We're obviously in 6th place in the Premier League at the moment. I don't want to do anything special in the Premier League. I just want to do the bare minimum. We are only expected to finish mid-table, so we're going to go ahead and accept that offer. What about you? Osei Tutti, we're going to accept that offer as well. Not really looking to play with a right back or a left back. 3-1-4-2 is where it's at, it would seem, at least. Kingsley Ofire, the young goalkeeper, we are going to accept that loan offer. We are just freeing up some of the space in our reserves for players that aren't necessarily going to be getting game time for us this season and have just come up through our youth system. So, found all that you could in England. Ah, that's right, Brandon Moore. Don't worry about that. Ryan Campbell-Gordon, you're offering $10.5 million for this guy. 77 rated left back. I'm going to reject that offer at the moment. I feel like he's okay. Renato Pereira is leaving on international duty with Brazil. I think that's probably the best team that we can put out. Given Ampadu his debut against Man United. Let's sim it. They lost against Man City and then won against Southampton. Oh, 2-0 at home. Tahith Chong, and is that Victor Fisher? Is that Victor Fisher? Might be Victor Fisher, I don't know. But they win that 2-0. I mean, it was going to end eventually, wasn't it? EFL Cup. What we're going to do is we're going to rotate our squad for the EFL Cup games. So we're going to play a bunch of our young players, give them a run out, make sure everyone is happy with us. And then when we get back into the Premier League, we are going to be playing our next game. Not sure who that is going to be against. Kingsley of Fire. Oh, why? A Fireman. You're not going to get any game time for us. Okay, Sanchez Ribas is back. That's alright. I mean, he's not going to start in this game because it's EFL Cup. But it's good to know that he's back. We are coming up to the end of the summer transfer window. Patrick Bailey. Is that Patrick Bailey? Yeah, Patrick Bailey's asking us, you know what, mate? You're definitely going to play this game. Evans, you are definitely going to play this game. Rotating the squad, as I say. We sold a left back and a right back. Made about 2 million off of both of them. So that's alright. That's not too bad at all. Let's get into it. Let's do some heavy rotation with the squad. Harrison and Delu. And Delu can get a run out. Of course you can, mate. Of course you can. So can Lee. Lamanzo Lemby can get a run out. We're going to give Clifton a run out as well, you know. We are going to give one of the only remaining players from the original Grimsby Town squad, Harry Clifton. We are going to be giving him a run out. We are going to rotate the squad, as I say. Actually, we're going to give Patrick Bailey a game. Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. My internet connection for some reason is not there. I'm just going to check the internet connection on my Xbox now. I feel like it might have come back now. I think it might have come back. I don't know. Let's try and get into it. Oh, I want to sign into Xbox. What are you doing? Ah! I don't know what's going on with the internet, guys. It seems like my Xbox has bugged out a bit, but I mean, we don't necessarily need to play. Don't necessarily need to play it online. Anyway, let's get back into it. Let's get back into FIFA. I think the stream is back up and running and everything's fine. Sorry, we momentarily had a bit of a blip, I would say, in the connection. Don't know what that was all about. My internet seems to be all functioning okay. It's just my Xbox has logged me out because we momentarily lost connection to it. So, like I say, we're rotating the team, putting in our second string team. We're going to sim this game in the EFL Cup. Yo, Book is off for his dinner. See you later, dude. I'll be probably streaming till around about 8:30 or so. 3-1 win, Bailey, Patrick Bailey. Ooh, with the hat trick. He told me that he wanted to play, and we played him. And he repaid me with the hat trick. Fantastic, Patrick Bailey. Absolutely sensational from the young right winger from England. Fantastic, mate. You know what? Great job, dude. Absolutely fantastic job. 3-0. Keeping the clean sheet as well, which is always good. So, the next game we are going to be playing in this stream is against Leeds United. So, Leeds were the team who got promoted into the Premier League last season with us. So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. As I say, guys, we had a bit of an issue with the internet connection, so I apologise for that. I don't know what's going on with the simulation either. Everything seems to be going wrong today. I hope everyone in the chat has had a good Friday, as good as mine has been, obviously. Welcoming in the weekend, getting to finish work early on a Friday is always great as well. But yeah, guys, I hope you had a fantastic Friday. Let me know if you guys have got anything fun planned for the weekend. I know I certainly don't. Probably just going to chill out, catch up on some Netflix series. Maybe I might make plans with a couple of my friends, but we'll see how that goes. As I say, I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow, see if I can be bothered, really. I mean, I do enjoy streaming, but some days I'm just, you know, it's just meh, I guess, is the only way to put it. Got a bunch of players leaving on international duty. I don't know when the international break is, but hopefully the international break will mean that we have a break with some of our players as well. De Vecchi has been called up. Ooh. Sanchez Ribas is back though. Edson Reyes can get back into it. Right, let's go. Let's put the first team back out for this game that we're going to play. Davis, Linz, Cabral, Sanchez, Ribas, Greenwood. We're gonna leave Bailey on the pitch, you know. He showed us why he deserves to play. Got us the hat-trick in the last game when he really, you know, I mean, he didn't really need to do it, but he told us that he wanted to play. We played him, and he went on to score a hat-trick. We're going to put a fire on the bench just purely because we don't have another goalkeeper to be on the bench. Let's sort out our subs as well. Probably need... We don't need you. Probably put more on for you. Rogel on for Evans. Definitely don't need Dujon Sterling on the bench. But he can stay on there, I guess. And Delu for Harrison. And Coman for Lee. Let's go with that. Probably the best team that we can field at the moment with players away on international duty, and yeah, that's probably the best that we can do. Coming up against Leeds, as I say, probably going to be hopefully one of the easier games that we play this season. Although having said that, we did of course beat Liverpool 5-1 in the first game of this live stream, so anything can happen really. But theoretically, this should be one of the easier games that we can expect to win. So I also think that maybe our bad internet connection has meant that the stream is maybe a bit more further behind. But I don't know. Oh, I'm quite enjoying this. Oh no, obstacle hit. Oh, is that going to go in? Yeah, it is. Of course it is. That's not. Oh, obstacle hit. Come on. Look at that. Oh, pinpoint perfection. I don't even know who this is. Sign him up. Oh, obstacle hit again. We've only got 4 seconds left to go. 1. Get that last shot in. Oh. 19575. Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let's go. That was actually a good little training thing to do. Normally 9 times out of 10 they're just bullshit. But here we go. We're playing against Leeds at Ellen Road, East Point Arena. Is that what they called it now? I mean, I'll always refer to it as Ellen Road.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. Well, we've got a couple of teams here that their strengths.
Here we go. Grimsby versus Leeds. Championship teams from last season going up against each other in the Premier League, though this time round. Greenwood plays it to Patrick Bailey. Bailey looking for the return ball through to Greenwood. I feel like I panicked and pressed the X button instead, or the A button instead of the shoot button there, but I should have 3 in his last game, yes. Patrick Bailey. Ethan Ampadu trying to get a tackle in. Does enough to put off the Leeds attacker there. Force him to lose the ball. Here we go. Greenwood. Oh! Looking for the ball through to Bailey. Bailey on the... Oh! Sanchez Ribas. Got past his man. Ooh! Good shot, but goalkeeper makes a good save over to his left-hand side. Here we go, whipping the ball in now. Oh! Ampadu. Looks for Linz. Linz is looking to play it to someone. Calm it down, don't do anything stupid, you know. Oh, I say that and then that happens. Come on, dude. I don't know what happened there. I honestly have no idea what happened there. I also think the stream, due to my dodgy connection earlier, is maybe a bit further behind than it normally is. Obviously, there is a like default delay to the stream, but I think it's not helped by there being a bit of an internet connection issue earlier on in the stream. Here comes Linz now, or Edson Race rather, running forwards. Plays it through to Bailey. The man who got the hat-trick in the last game. Oh, he has a goal, the opening goal in this game as well, to add to his tally for this season. Obviously, the last game was in the EFL Cup, but nonetheless, he gets a goal for us in the Premier League against Leeds away from home, coming in on that right-hand side, using his left foot to beat the goalkeeper at the near post. What a hit that is. Goalkeeper perhaps should be doing a bit better. It's always, you know, a bit difficult to judge when the goalkeeper gets beaten at his near post, but you can see us on the sideline Showing our appreciation for that effort from the youngster Patrick Bailey. As I say, picked up a hat-trick in the last time out that he played for us in the EFL Cup.
Can find some space here on the flanks.
Here we go. Edwards now running down our near sides.
Here's
Coming up
Edwards.
against Cabral. Roberts,
And they've got a
forward
man out
Linz. Get it away. What a defensive header that was. Play it forward now. Let's
wide.
look
Suddenly
again.
they could be on the counter-attack.
Oh, Sanchez Ribas was trying to hold it up, and we saw Bailey running on the far hand side there. Far hand side? That's not how that saying goes. Ampadu there to mop up at the back, calmly plays it out of defence. However, Lombo Suarez, what are you doing? Oh, Leeds United player there just pulls the shot wide past the outside of the far post. Here we go. Let's see if we can create something now.
As you can see, the visitors trailing in the possession stakes. But what you would say
Here we
about
go.
this team is
Mason
the way
Greenwood.
they've used the possession.
Patrick Bailey's in again.
He's in on
Oh, what have you done? Perhaps should have taken another touch to go around a goalkeeper, but oh, it was almost Patrick Bailey's double
they are still in charge of this
in this game. We're still 1-0 up, of course, but the chance to make it 2-0 against a former Championship side like ourselves in Leeds United. Oh, goalkeeper makes a save. Yeah, I thought that goalkeeper made the save there. It looked like it was curling in at the far post. Goalkeeper needed to get a touch on it. It may just be fingertips, but it looks like he has just tipped it past the outside of the far post. Ball has been whipped in by Bailey. Good punch away from the goalkeeper. Brace. He's got it though. Gonna hit it. Oh, that was a tame shot. Tame effort. Normally we're a lot better shooting from long range. But unfortunately not at that time. That finish, mate, top draw. Of course it was. Mate, you missed the finish in the first game against Liverpool, man. You should go back, rewind the stream and watch the finish against Liverpool. Davis! Oh. Greenwood picks it up, recovers the scraps. Cabral! Oh, it's straight at him. I thought that finesse was going to go top bins, but straight to the goalkeeper. Yeah, we scored a fantastic goal with Mason Greenwood against Liverpool in the first game on this stream. Sanchez Ribas. I can't remember who it was with the ball over the top. I think it might have been Linz with the through ball. And Greenwood took it in his stride. Alisson came rushing off his line, and we just chipped him. And it was a fantastic goal. But yeah, we're doing alright. We're doing alright. I mean, obviously we've lowered the difficulty. Back down to professional. We've come up against our first 3 games in the Premier League were Chelsea, Liverpool, and then Man United. And I mean, to pick up, 4 points from those, from a possible 9 from those 3 games is, I think that's a decent start for us. Oh, look at that movement! Look at that movement! Greenwood! Oh, maybe he should have taken a bit of a touch to get the ball out from under his feet, but I can't really complain there. Oh, look at that! Linz controlling the ball. Sanchez Ribas! Oh my gosh, how has that not gotten into the back of the net? Come on. Come on. Oh my word, man. Oh my word. Good tackle, good tackle. Just bully him off the ball there. We're not going to panic. Oh, we get the ball. I thought that was somehow a Leeds United throw in there, but apparently not. Yo, who's in the West Ham starting lineup, man? Greenwood is still going with it. Greenwood, easy as you like. Look at that, man. He is just too powerful. Holds off the defender trying to pull him back. Silencing the home fans there. Really getting on their nerves. Obviously, this rivalry carrying on over from the Championship from last season. Greenwood, fantastic. Look at that. The man just tries to hold him up. Just can't do anything about that. The goalkeeper is just too slow.
Widen the margin here to 2-0.
Alright. Liverpool game, that dink, yeah, mate, that dink. That dink, honestly, I didn't know what I was doing there. I saw Alisson come rushing off his line. I pressed the chip shot buttons, and then I was like, oh wait a minute, he's going back towards his line, maybe he's going to save this. And he just sort of got caught in 2 minds. Sanchez Ribas. Oh, goalkeeper makes a good save over to his left-hand side. Fabianski, nothing else is important. I mean, that's true. That's true, man. I mean, I'm hoping that Fabianski being back means he's going to make a ton of saves, because I think I saw a tweet and saying that basically Matty Ryan is going to be donating £500 to obviously the or 500 Australian dollars or whatever it is to the financial support or the aid for the bushfires in Australia for every save that is made this weekend. So I'm hoping that there are a ton of saves this weekend. I mean, Fabianski being one of the best shot stoppers in the league, certainly going to be making a few saves today, you'd like to think. I mean, it is against Sheffield United, not the most potent strike force in the world, but yeah. Let's hope that David Moyes can continue and pick to improve West Ham's form and pick up 3 points against Sheffield United. It will be good. I mean, I'm annoyed that Fredericks is injured, but obviously got Lundstrom at the back in my fantasy Premier League team. So I'm hoping that Lundstrom can do something.
Well, the rain has been very heavy.
Oh, Sean Lee. Oh, Sean Lee tried to do a bit too much. Tried to be the hero there. Didn't need to be. He had options over to his far side, but decided to go alone. Lombo. Clash of legs there. Referee sees nothing doing there. Oh, Adama, you filthy pace bastard. Look at that. Over the near far post. Oh, goalkeeper has to punch it. Greenwood coming in at the far post. Forces the goalkeeper to punch it away. Sean Lee with the corner. Again, a good punch from the goalkeeper there. Adama Traore though picks it up. Ref. Sanchez Ribas turns his man. Oh, get off the outside of the post. Oh, dude. Oh, maybe leaning back a little bit. Goalkeeper caught in no man's land. We could easily be 3 or 4-0 up in this game. Sanchez Ribas has had 5 shots on his own. But, I mean, it remains 2-0. I'm not going to complain about that, you know. Picking up another all 3 points. We obviously signed Ethan Ampadu as well. Ampadu now trying to track back on that far side. Trying to whip the ball in. Lombo Suarez is there to recover at the back. Play it to Ethan Ampadu. That's it. Just calm it down. Sanchez Ribas has turned his man again. Adama. Hold your run, Adama. Hold your run. There we go. That's the run. Adama. That's the run. Oh, another save from the Leeds United goalkeeper at his near post. We would definitely be, you know, 6-0 up if it wasn't for the goalkeeper. So fair play, you know, fair play.
Swung in from the corner.
Oh, bit of a poor corner there, really. They're trying to create a counter attack from that corner. 3 minutes of added time. Ethan Ampadu's here covering just to make sure that they don't come at us with a counter attack. So good defensive work there from Ampadu to hold up the Leeds United attack. And again, look at that tackle from Ampadu there. Fantastic. There we go. Full-time whistle after the 3 minutes added on. 2-0 away from home. Fantastic from the lads. Come on. There we go. Our third win. Is that our second win? Second win in the Premier League. Third win of this episode. Let's go to the post-match interview. Is that Andy Sam? I mean, it did look like him a little bit, apart from like the curly hair. Did look like him. You know what? Grimsby Town always wins. We could have won by more. Obviously, we could have won by more. Hey man, how difficult was it to score past him? It was not easy. It was not easy to score past him. Without him in between the sticks, I feel like we could have been, you know, 6-0 up. 6-0 up at least. I don't think we're going to sign anyone else. Oh, someone's just been, I don't know, 300 million spent just like that. A loan offer for Kingsley of Fire. We'll accept it. Even though he is our third goalkeeper that we have in our team. I believe Wright should be coming back to us fairly soon. I'm not sure when his loan offer expires at Feyenoord, but we should be getting him back fairly soon, I hope. 506 million spent in a day. Oh my gosh, 54.4 million for Lombo Suarez. Nah, I want 100 million. Soz. Bayern München coming after him. Absolutely not. We're going to block all the offers on Lombo Suarez. We have no reason to sell him unless he tries to force through a transfer away from the club. That's probably the only time that we're going to sell him. But hopefully by that point we will, you know, he's going to be a key player for us for the foreseeable future. So hopefully by that point he is going to, you know, want to stay with us, and we're going to be winning the Premier League and Champions League in consecutive seasons, and he won't want to leave. So that's the idea anyway, but it's obviously very early days. Yo, Book is back in the chat. How's it going, man? How's it going? I hope you had a good dinner. Like I say, I mean, the internet connection from earlier, like, I had issues with internet connection and it went down. And yeah, basically, I think the stream is running a bit further behind than it normally is. So I apologize for that, and I apologize if you send the message and I don't reply to it until like a minute or two later, because that's just how it is at the moment. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and sell Harry Clifton. I think he might be the last remaining player, or maybe we've still got Harry Davis at the back. I'm trying to give a fire. I'm trying to put him out on loan, but he just, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's playing at. No one seems to want to meet his demands or whatever he's doing. Let's have a look at the notifications then. Ryan Campbell-Gordon. Fiorentina were trying to sign Ryan Campbell-Gordon. We will reject that, obviously. I think it is delayed slightly, isn't it? I think it might be. I don't know. Like I say, I mean, I just had some internet trouble earlier, so I hope it's not too bad. Connor Ward, sorry, you don't deserve to be there. Neither do you, George Watson. Owen Rose. Jay Kelly, nope. Reece Jackson, nope. Connor Griffiths, I'm sorry, mate. Archie Thomas, you can stay in there. I mean, I'm more interested in this guy. He obviously comes in as a right back, which is not, I guess it's less than ideal, but we need to sign 3 defenders in our youth squad, basically, this season. Diogo Neves, you can stay in there. Fabio Ribeiro, what are you even doing? Felipe Silveira, again, the same to you, mate. What are you even doing? Dennis Moraes, you can get out as well. We'll leave you 3 in there for now. And finally, Jordan Cooper, who he sent to Spain. Damian Silva, what the hell is that? Javier Fernandez. Franco Gomez, okay. And Ricardo's a goalkeeper, another goalkeeper. I didn't think defensive-minded meant goalkeeper. I thought defensive-minded meant defender. Alright, so we won the game against Leeds, which only means that we're going to be simming the next game. So we're going to rotate the squad ever so slightly. Had some players away on international duty. I don't know when the international breaks are, but as I say, going to rotate the squad slightly. This might be the international weekend, to be fair. Denmark giving me a contract offer to manage them internationally. The only team that I am going to be accepting an offer to manage internationally is going to be England, of course. So if England come knocking, we are going to go ahead and accept it. But we're still going to be in charge of Grimsby Town. We're going to have 2 jobs at once because, you know, multitasking. Who is my best youth player on my team? Well, define youth. I mean, Sanchez Ribas is only 22. And he's 86 rated. Greenwood's 22, 82 rated. Bailey is 1877. I mean, it's probably De Vecchi, if you count that as youth, or do you actually mean like a youth player? I don't know. Carlos Lins has got 5-star skill moves. It's a shame that I'm not actually good at doing any kind of skills, isn't it? Cabral is 20. You sort of forget how old some of these players are because they've been around for so long in this team, but they are all relatively young. Lombo Suarez is 21. Kabak is 24. Daniele Ricci is the young player. Playing for us. I mean, Renato Pereira is only 20 years old. It's, yeah. As far as like super young, I mean Harrison's 19 years old and 80 rated or 78 rated. Lee is 1980 rated. As I say, Devechi is a 2185 rated, so he's probably like the sort of best in terms of rating to age, I guess. Who I've got from a youth scout. What do you mean in like my current team at the moment? I mean I've got these three midfielders all came from my youth system. The same as Bailey. I don't know about Cabral. I can't remember if I think he did come from the youth system. Lombo Suarez was obviously a free agent. Riki came through the youth system. If you actually mean like who have I got scouted at the moment, I don't know. I can't remember that off the top of my head. I don't think we've got anyone in our youth academy. But as I say, we've got some good young talent in the team. Coming up against Spurs in the Premier League in our next game. We are going to make some slight changes to the team. We're going to give Lee a game on the right hand side. We're going to put Moore back into the team and Lumanzu Lemby as well. Coman can start on the left hand side. Rogel can come back in. And you know what? We're going to give this guy, Marcos de Oliveira, a run out. What we are going to do is we're going to leave Ricky in goal, however. We're going to fix the bench slightly with some of the players who have just come back from the international break. Let's go ahead and replace Bailey with Davis. Cabral, do you want to go onto the bench? Yeah, Cabral can go on the bench for you. Maybe need another defender. Maybe Traore for a defender. Or maybe Cabral, Traore for a defender. Traore for Kabak. There we go. Who have I got for my youth scout? Let's go, let's sim this game against Spurs. As I say, we only want to finish mid-table, really. That's all that we're expected to finish. 2-0 at home again. What is going on? What is going on, guys? The sim games are not working for us, but as I say, that's what I'm going to do, you know. We are aiming to finish maybe like anywhere between 12th and 8th place. Obviously mid-table, that is basically mid-table, so anywhere in and around that mark is going to be good for us. Mason King. Oh, that was the scout that we sent out. Alright, we're going to rotate the first team back into the squad and then sim this game against Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth just ahead of us. If we beat them, we will jump above them in the Premier League table up to 10 points after having played 6 games. So, yeah, we're going to rotate the squad ever so slightly. Got some players complaining who want to play. Edson Race definitely wants to play. And so does Bridge and Delu. So we're definitely going to play. And Delu, give him a bit of a run out. He hasn't really featured for us so much so far this season. But I think he deserves it. Sanchez, Ribas, and Ndilu, the old partnership from back in the day, back in the years of the Championship, the early years, and certainly towards the end of League One. So, Ray said he wants to play. We're going to drop Linz back down ever so slightly. We're going to give Race a bit of a run out. What we could do is we could put Linz into defend, but we're going to switch it back. Ampadu and Kabak, I guess. Or we'll switch Kabak there. And we'll put... I actually like having Lombo Suarez in the middle, to be fair. We'll leave it at that. Cabral can come back on. Devechi is on the right-hand side, which is always good. And I think we will leave it there. Greenwood maybe can go on the bench instead of Harrison. That seems to be okay. 2 defenders, a couple of mids. Maybe put Leon instead, just in case we need a right or left wing player to come off the bench. Gonna go and attend the press conference and then we will go ahead and sim this game.
Thank you all
Play
for
the next
joining us.
game in this
We'll start
episode.
taking
I'm
some
not too sure if
questions
it's
now.
going to be Premier League or in a League Cup. You just have to focus on playing well. Bournemouth are going to be a tough side to break down. You know what? Having to bring stability to the team's performance, you will definitely see what we're made of. I mean, I think we definitely have a lot of stability in the team at the
Thanks all
moment.
for
It's just about, you know, consistency, really. Consistency is key. Let's sim this game against Bournemouth. Yo, Lucas is in the chat. How's it going, man? I hope you've had a good day. I hope you've had a good Friday. Whoa! I thought we were at home for a minute there, but I don't know what's going on. The sim games just aren't working for us. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so we're going to be playing EFL Cup game. I say that. I don't like playing EFL Cup games because it doesn't do anything for us. I'm sorry, guys. It just doesn't do anything for us, does it? I want to maybe just keep this put a rotated side in, or I could put a rotated side in and play it, but I don't really feel like playing EFL Cup games, especially when it doesn't really do anything for us. You know, it doesn't return us any money. I mean, it's obviously a competition that we could win, but yeah, I'd rather just rotate the team and sim it, if I'm being honest. I mean, we'll put Bailey back in there because we know that he had a decent game last time out that he played in the EFL Cup. We're going to put Clifton back in there. We're going to put Coman on the left-hand side. Give Lombo Suarez a bit of a rest for Vogel, and then put Marquez de Oliveira in between the sticks. We're going to put Pereira back in goal. Maybe that's why I wasn't winning the games, because Pereira was not in between the goal for us. So yeah, maybe that's the reason. Sanchez Ribas actually can have a bit of a rest. Yeah, Sanchez Ribas, you deserve a rest. Let's sim this one, and then we will definitely play the next one, because we haven't played one in a good couple of games. But yeah, like I say, I just don't feel like playing EFL Cup games. Oh, Pereira picked up an injury. Oh, that could be devastating. Bailey picks up his 4th goal in the Carabao Cup, though. So, how are you doing? Out for 4 months. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Our goalkeeper, our number 1 goalkeeper, is out until maybe just after the January transfer window. Don't know what he did to himself, but that's not good. Currently in 12th place, 7 points. If we win this game, the home game against Everton, then we will jump up a couple of places, no doubt. But we have to win it. You know, we're going to be playing it because we haven't played a game in a while. We're going to get the first team back on the pitch. Davis and Race back on the pitch. Not you, Clifton. Race, I said. Race can get back on the pitch. Davis can hold down the fort. Pereira, man, why? It means that Kingsley Off-Fire is going to be on a bench for us, which isn't a great situation to be in, especially if Riki picks up an injury and we're just left with Off-Fire, which is going to be an issue. I think we do have a couple of goalkeepers loaned out, so we can obviously recall a couple of those, so maybe it's not the end of the world. But yeah, Pereira injury is less than ideal, shall we say. It's certainly less than ideal at this moment in time. Where? Oh, Rogel is already on the bench. I was desperately looking to find Rogel to put him on the bench, and he turns out he's already there. Mason Moore, Harrison, Fortendilu, I guess. And we will leave it at that. We will leave it at that. So Harry Davis on our reserves bench, really the only player left, I think, apart from him and Clifton, of course, from the OG Grimsby Town squad that we started off this career mode with all those seasons ago. Coming up against Everton at home at Blundell Park, or as I like to call it, the Fish and Chip Arena. Going to be keeping an eye on the Sheffield United vs West Ham game in the background as well. See if David Moyes can keep up winning ways with West Ham. That's enough of that. That's enough of that little training drill.
Perfect pitch on a perfect day in this.
Go ahead. Surprised that we are still at this very, very small stadium in the Premier League, but maybe we'll have to change the stadium settings.
Should be a good one. A lot of talk about the tactics these two managers
Well
are likely
done,
to
Sanchez
employ
Ribas, that's it.
beforehand. We'll soon find out.
Greenwood.
They could be in.
Oh, Sanchez Ribas, first time shot.
An
Oh,
excellent chance.
nice little
What a
1-2
match by
with
the
Mason
goalkeeper,
Greenwood there.
who's diffused the situation.
Oh, great agility, great
Ampadu.
reflexes there, and,
I don't know why you tried to shoot that.
many knockdowns as well.
Don't know why Ampadu tried to shoot that there. Why have you gone and hit again? Why did you go and run it out if you're not gonna? Why are you gonna go and touch the ball if you're not gonna get it under control? I don't understand it. I don't understand why FIFA automatically tracks the ball. Can you not just leave it to go out for a throw on? Maybe that would be a novel idea to introduce into the next game. You know, realistic
They should
gameplay.
have more than enough. I mean, they're all good defenders in their own rights, but in front of them, they've got players who are going to be working really hard.
There we go,
And they can
Devechi.
be a threat on the front foot. We'll wait and see.
Davis has made a surging run forward. Mason Greenwood is there.
A great chance to go in front.
Oh,
Pushed out by the goalkeeper, but only into a dangerous area.
oh, Cabral perhaps shouldn't be shooting from that angle. Does force the goalkeeper to make a save though.
The crowd responding.
Gets it away from the
Oh, it's a good punch from the goalkeeper. However, we do manage to win the ball back. Ampadu, what are you doing, Ampadu? Ampadu is committed way too much. Oh my gosh, Mudu Barrow, what the fuck? Oh my gosh, I thought he was going to score there.
Well, he was almost
Daniele Ricci looked beaten there at his near post. Oh my gosh, that was heart in the mouth stuff. Going from almost scoring at one end of the pitch to almost conceding within a matter of, you know, what amounts to maybe 5 minutes. So it's less than ideal. Again, here Everton come on a counter-attack. We do manage to get the ball back via Edson Reis though. Sanchez Ribas plays it back. Cabral to Greenwood. Greenwood just can't take it in his stride. Oh, right at the last moment there. Looked to be a decent attack going forward as well, but oh my gosh, Barrow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Don't know what was going on there. I honestly could not tell you what was going on. Greenwood. Anyone? Greenwood is there, Greenwood. Devechi, oh, there we go. Beats the goalkeeper, all ends up. Devechi cutting in on the right hand side. There we go, 1-0. Let's go, guys. That was not the through ball, but just beats the goalkeeper for pace and power there. He can't get a strong enough hand on it. 1-0 up at home against Everton. Let's go. I wouldn't say this is a must win, but you know, wins have been a bit tough to come by in the games that we have simmed in the Premier League, so it will be nice to pick up all 3 points in this one. Here come Everton now, trying to get the goal back almost immediately. Ampadu is there to mop up at the back.
Trying to catch the other team out with a quick break here.
Looking for Greenwood.
Greenwood.
Plays it down to Devechi.
His teammates
Back to Greenwood.
the potential of this attack.
Greenwood! Oh, straight to the goalkeeper. Straight to the goalkeeper. Good shot. I mean, he managed to create some space for himself to get that shot away. But it was just too close to the goalkeeper that time. So hopefully next time he can place it a bit closer to either side of the goal. But I'm not going to complain. We're still 1-0 up. Oh, good defence. Linz tracking back. Good defensive work rate there to Greenwood. Playing it to Sanchez Ribas. We're going to cut back inside. Oh, again, too close to the goalkeeper. Trying to finesse that into the top right-hand corner of the goal, but just couldn't control it as he would have perhaps wanted to. Couldn't get the placement on it. Maybe couldn't get the ball out of his feet in time to create the space for that curl into the top right. Oh, it's a good ball into the box. Ampadu gets the block on that second chance effort from Everton. Here comes the corner, potentially the final bit of action before the half-time whistle is blown. Oh my gosh! Oh, what has gone on there? It's an own goal, it looks like. At least I think it might go down as an own goal.
But he's got to pick up his
Really, look, who is it at the foot near? Who is that? I don't even know who that is. I don't think that's an own goal, to be fair. There's nothing he could do about it. It was probably going in regardless, but he has gone down as an own goal, so not what we wanted going into the half-time break, but there's not a lot we can do about it, really. Not a lot we can do about it. 1-1 at half-time. We have been on top. I'd like to say, you know, I mean, we scored both goals, so yeah, we've definitely been on top of the game in terms of the goal scoring. It's just unfortunate that the second goal that we scored was into the back of our own net, so hopefully we can pick up the second goal fairly early on in this second half, restore that 1-goal advantage that we did have for the majority of that first half. Ball through just a bit ahead of Greenwood, he just can't get it under control. Oh, got the ball. Oh, I thought that was a bad challenge, if I'm being honest with you. I thought that was a really bad challenge, but referee didn't refer it to VAR, so it shouldn't have been that. It couldn't have been that bad, right? Couldn't have been that bad. Here we go. Go ahead goal. It's coming.
What, Alan, about Everton's next?
It's coming home. Come on, De Vecchi.
Don't see them having too many problems.
It's about finding the right pass now.
What were you doing? It's just frustrating, guys. I'm trying everything that I can to win this game. As I say, it would be nice to pick up all 3 points. Wins have come, you know, not been easy to come by. Oh my gosh, ref! Oh, I mean, he's got the ball, but good control.
Less than happy with that decision from the ref. They were convinced it was a penalty. Put them in front.
Greenwood, what are you doing? He's being crowded out.
Trying to steer it through.
Oh, I'm trying to be too delicate with it. I mean, it's not my fault that fucking Everton have just gone like all out defence, parked the bus tactic, trying to counter-attack us. That's what it definitely feels like. They're playing with like a flat back 6 or something. Our defending is poor at the moment. Oh my gosh. Back to the goalkeeper. That's it. Roll it out. Go on. Create from the back. De Vecchi. I don't know what. Look, De Vecchi is dropping way too deep for a right mid. Oh, Greenwood! Ah, frustrating. Oh my gosh.
It's a good way to nick the ball back. Quick thinking.
Sanchez Ribas is through though. Running into trouble. Receives it back from Greenwood. Sanchez Ribas, please! There we go! To restore the 1-goal lead against Everton at home. Let's go, Sanchez Ribas, that man himself. Yo, what's going on, Pedro? Pedro Pessin in the chat. How's it going, man? I hope you've had a good day today. Just in time to witness that brilliant goal. Nice little 1-2 between Sanchez Ribas and Mason Greenwood. Restores our 1-goal lead in this game. He's got 3 goals in the Premier League so far. Brilliant interplay between him and his strike partner, Mason Greenwood. Let's go. 2-1. Just over 15 minutes left here in this game without any added time on at the end of the second half. Everton giving it their best so far in the second half, but their best is not good enough for us. We have scored 3 goals in this game. Unfortunately, one of them was into the back of our own goal, so you know, it's less than ideal. Everton dominating possession, really. I mean, they're not really doing anything with it. If I'm being honest with you, it doesn't feel like they've done a lot. De Vecchi. Oh, De Vecchi, unlucky, mate. Unlucky, mate. It's alright. I can see that. I see that. Ampadu, that's yours. Ampadu. Oh, that wasn't the best clearance. Was not the best clearance from you, mate. But oh my God, Rocco's coming at us. Lynn's tracking back. Good defending there. Gets the touch on it to put it behind for a corner. Obviously, we conceded from a corner in the first half.
I think he had to do it, didn't he?
We need to look smart here. Fix up a bit. Get it away. Good, strong header from Lombo Suarez there. That's it. Get it under control. Sanchez Ribas now has been released. He's waiting. Found Moore coming off the bench. Fresh legs running forward. Cut it back inside. Oh, just trips up at the last second. Surprised that the referee didn't blow up for a foul there, but unfortunately for us, it doesn't come to anything. Oh, why are you playing that? Why are you playing it like that? There we go, though. 2-1. Final score. Picking up all 3 points against Everton. Always good to pick up all 3 points. That was a decent game. I mean, they had no shots on target. Like I say, we scored the own goal that made it level at 1-1 just before half time. So, yeah, we restricted them to no shots on target, which was good. Daniele Ricci didn't really have to do anything in that game. Your team scored a decisive goal. What do you make in the next game? You know, you just have to focus on the next game. Was the win ever in doubt? You know, we were definitely the stronger side. Like I say, they didn't have a shot on target, so it wasn't easy at times in that second half to break them down. But it's all good. It's all good. We're not going to complain. There we are, up into 11th on 10 points after playing 7 games. So 10 points from a possible 21. It's not the best, but it's our first season in the Premier League. We're only expected to finish around the mid-table mark. I'm not really going to stress out too much if we don't make it, you know, into the Champions League places straight away. It's going to maybe take us a couple of seasons for us to, you know, get up to that level. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we do get on going forward. Let's have a look at the youth scouts at the moment. Hugh Wright, 72-90. Lewis Green, 72-92. Archie Thomas, 83. Maximum potential now. Sorry, mate. Morgan Watson as well. You're out. Max Phillips, you can say. And look at that. We've got some decent young players. Decent young players coming through. That's all right. I can deal with that. I can deal with that. Let's have a look at the Brazilian cohort. Sorry, mate, you are out. So are you, Bruno Fernandes. So are you. I don't even know what you're doing in my squad. Neither do I know what you're doing in my squad either. Pedro Jesus. Oh my gosh, what is going on with these Brazilians? Come on. And then let's have a look at the Spanish scout. Has he found anyone good? Franco Gomez looks okay. Looks like he could be okay at least. Ricardo Sanchez, another goalkeeper that we don't need. Pedro Ramirez could be okay. Yago Bello, what is going on? Again, look, 66 potential. No. I'm looking for the 94s, man. Give me the 90 to 94 potential players. That is what I'm looking for. Got a game against West Ham coming up. I think we are going to stick with our first team squad here. We are going to sim this game. We'll rotate the squad slightly and sim the next game. And then we will play one more game in this live stream and then call it a day. They're on a losing streak of 3 games. Can we win? Oh my gosh, look at that. 5-0 away from home. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Greenwood, Cabral, Race, Linz getting in with the goals. Greenwood picking up the double. Sanchez Ribas, unfortunately for him, wasn't able to contribute with the goals going forward, but I'm sure that he must have had a hand in a couple of those goals. So I can't really complain. He got taken off after 51 minutes for Harrison, so perhaps didn't have the best first half, but yeah, look at that. 5-0 away from home against West Ham United. Keeps us in 10th place in the league, just behind Arsenal and the likes of Wolves as well. Let's sim forward now through our training session. How this game is realistic. I mean, yeah, it is, Dan. It definitely is realistic. Has to be realistic. I mean, if a West Ham fan says it's a realistic game, then it definitely has to be a realistic game. I mean, sorry, not West Ham fan, Wycombe Wanderers fans. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I misspoke. Let's go, Harrison. Why are you angry with me, Harrison? Let's put Traore on the pitch. Rotating the squad for this game against Leicester. Let's put Clifton and then Moore. Coman can go on the pitch as well. Rogel, Marquez, Oliveira, And you know what? We are going to give Mr. Dijon Mustard a game as well. There we go. That's all that we need to do. Yeah, mate, it's definitely a realistic game. Similar game against Leicester. I don't know if it's going to be a Carabao Cup game or not. In the next game, what's going on? 3-0. How do we concede in the first minute against Piatek? I don't know what's going on there. Hey Lee, mate, calm down. Prove me that I need to play you, mate. Just prove that I need to play you. You're the rotation. You know, you are a good player to have in the squad. We're 1 point behind Liverpool in 13th place at the moment. I don't know if our next game is in the league or in the Carabao Cup. If it's in the Carabao Cup, we're going to sim it because I don't want to play those games. If it's in the league, we're going to play it, and then that will be the last game in the episode. So let's sim forward and have a look. It looks like it's going to be in the Premier League against Wolves, who are just below us in 13th place. 2 points ahead of them. So this is going to be a... it will help us extend our lead over Wolves and close the gap on the teams above us, the likes of Liverpool, Bournemouth and Southampton. So let's get the first team back in action. The Vecchi is up to 86 as well now. We are definitely going to have a couple of 90 rated players fairly soon. At least I hope we will. And then we can truly see if we can start dominating the Premier League. We're going to put Ampadu on the left. As always, Lombo Suarez in the middle. And Kabak there. Going to keep Ricky in between the goal. Because we don't have anyone else at the moment. Obviously, we've got, I think, Charlie Wright, his name is going to be coming back to us from his loan season at Feyenoord anytime soon, which is always going to be good for us. It will improve our goalkeeper situation quite dramatically, in fact. So, I'm hoping he comes back to us fairly soon. I believe the Sheffield United West Ham game is still 0-0. Yes, it is. It's still 0-0. I mean, no offense, mate. No offense, Guillaume. That definitely has 0-0 plastered all over it, if I'm being honest with you. Or it certainly feels like it has 0-0 plastered all over it. Maybe, having said that, maybe it's commentator's curse and West Ham will now go on and score a good couple of goals before half-time. But having not been watching the game, I don't know how it's going. I don't know what the stats are like. I don't know who is dominating or who is, who's been on top so far in that game. But yeah, I mean, I've got, what's his name, Johnny Lundstrom in my team. It would be good if he can keep a clean sheet. That would be a good way to start the week, or certainly start the weekend in terms of the FPL. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank fuck. I thought he gave a penalty there. I genuinely thought he gave a penalty.
Got to try and test the keeper here.
Oh, Ricky makes a smart save. Looked like it was going to go in. Ricky, the young goalkeeper. I say young goalkeeper, I mean Pereira, our number one goalkeeper, is quite young still. Greenwood.
Well,
Ref!
Still to play for, but they've been less than impressive.
Ref, pull it back, ref!
To make amends, but I don't know. A lot of
Oh my god, ref. Why did you not? You better pull it back for the yellow card.
It's a goal for Chelsea.
Greenwood! There we go. Alright, we'll forgive you, referee. We'll forgive you. We'll forgive you. Greenwood picking up the goal. Game due to end -1, mate. Was that two own goals? There we go. What a good goal that is from Greenwood. Let's see if the referee pulls it back to give the yellow card to whoever it was that tackled one of our players. I think it might have even been Greenwood in that earlier build-up before we scored the goal. I'd like to see the referee pull it back and give a yellow card because it should be a yellow card to one of their players. Yeah, Todibo gets a yellow card, as you can see on the top left-hand corner of the screen. Oh my god, Enoch Barre, the young Wolves winger, running rings around us on that near side. Greenwood.
I'm sure the opposition has done all the...
Why? Who the hell is Davy Selke? That's never a foul, ref. Get up. I should not be sliding in like that. Oh my gosh. What's going on there? Referee's going to pull it back and give us a yellow. Oh, ref, come on. Never. Never. The referee is blind. Get it away. Good header. That is over and out. Alright, here we go. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my gosh, I always panic when you press the pass button with the goalkeeper and then you see a attacking player from the opposition moving towards the player that you're obviously passing it to. Greenwood! Why would you... I'm sorry, right? Greenwood was running forward and then he just stopped. That through ball was meant for Greenwood, not Cabral. But he just stopped. There we go. Good line held by the defenders there. Davy Selke. Meant to be worrying about him. Can someone come close? There we go. I can't see. What the f... Oh my god. He's going to get yellow. He's going to get sent off. Ah! I'm sorry, right? Ampadu was calling for a player to come and help him. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You're going to get yellow card. Everyone's getting yellow cards today, guys. Everyone is getting yellow cards today in this final game on the live stream. Yeah, as like I say, everyone's getting yellow cards. Oh my gosh. Come on. Away. Alright, here we go. Now let's get the ball under control and let's do something with it. De Vecchi. Show me your pace. Show me your pace. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. De Vecchi. Oh. Oh. Oh, the pace and the finishing to boot as well. Doing his nice little dance as well. There we go, mate. There's no one there with him. He's doing it on his own. I don't know what you're doing, mate. You're such a loner. There we go. Still 0-0 in the West Ham Sheffield United game, or Sheffield United West Ham game, should I say. We might have to make a couple of subs around the hour mark just to make sure that we preserve the players that are on yellow cards. Oh, Dendonker's still there. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the defenders are doing. Lombo Suarez knows exactly what he's doing though, making dope tackles since day one. Sanchez Ribas running forward. Ah, he just gets muscled off it. Go on, De Vecchi, close him. Oh my gosh. How have we let them get away with that? Who's picking that up? Anyone going to pick that up? Kabak, are you going to go across and try and pick that up? Selke, Davy Selke. Oh, look at that. We forced them to make the mistake. Fantastic stuff. Getting that throw on the far side, just inside our own area. But we do lose the ball, however, via Sanchez Ribas. But Davis, Sam Davis, the CDM, is there to pick it back up. Why? That's not the ball. The ball is the one at the top over to De Vecchi. I guarantee you, like if we were to turn on like the old instruction and it gives you like the highlighted lines of where the ball is going to go, you'd see that I was aiming my left stick at the top of the screen. 2-0. I don't know why I'm complaining. I'm just getting a little bit frustrated by some of the sort of weird caveats to FIFA, but yeah. 2-0 away from home. We'll leave Greenwood and Moore on for now, but we are definitely going to be looking to making a couple of subs here in the second half to, just like I say, preserve them. We don't want them to get sent off in the second half, so we'll address that when the time comes, but for now we'll leave them both on the pitch. Sanchez Ribas. Oh. Ref. Oh. Like I say, guys, this is going to be the last game in today's live stream. We've made inroads into the Premier League, sitting around about the mid-table mark, which is where we're expected to finish this season. I'm not going to stress too much about, trying to get any higher than where we need to be. I want to have a couple of seasons in the Premier League to sort of implement our style of play into the Premier League. And then maybe after that, we are obviously going to try our hardest to try and get into the European competitions. De Vecchi, De Vecchi, second goal. Let's go. 3-0. De Vecchi, the young 21-year-old player who we signed from the free agents, immediately came in worth 46.5 million, which is ridiculous. I think the next time the ball goes out of play, we are going to be making a couple of substitutions. We're not going to intentionally play it out of play though. We're just going to wait until the ball goes out, unless the ball doesn't go out inside the next 10 minutes or so. Greenwood, Fran Sanchez, Ribas. Oh, he tried to finesse to the top. Fabianski injured. Are you joking? Are you actually kidding me? Oh my god, David Martin's gone in for Fabianski. Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Oh, mate, my heart goes out to you.
He's put the ball down on the spot.
My heart goes out to you.
Steps up to take it. Oh, he went for massive power off the crossbar and blasted over.
Oh, come on, get rid of the ball with more effectiveness next time. Kabak, stay on him, that's it, Kabak. De Vecchi is there to pick it up now. Run it forward.
It's going to be a complicated approach now. Long balls into the box from any angle. It's all about trying to win that first header.
Greenwood, going for a long shot. Oh, there we go. Right, we're going to make a couple of substitutions now. Greenwood has had a decent game. We're going to take him off for Harrison. And Mason Moore can come off for Edson Wraith as well. So just to preserve the two players who have picked up yellow cards so far in that first half. Goalkeeper makes a good save from Greenwood, his last involvement in this game. Oh, defender just manages to get there just ahead of our offensive player. Here we go. Edson Wraith with the long shot. Oh, tried it. Yeah, you can't blame me for trying, right? David Martin, man. Oh, I mean, wouldn't it be, poetic justice for West Ham now to go on and win with David Martin in between the sticks? Obviously picked up the win and the clean sheet against Chelsea earlier on in the season, so that'd be fantastic for West Ham if he could keep a clean sheet and pick up the win today after coming off the bench. No doubt in my mind that he's a lot better goalkeeper than Roberto is and ever will be, so yeah, it should hopefully be a good game for him. But I mean, the Fabianski injury is a bit of a, oh my gosh, maybe I should stop talking about real life football and focus on FIFA. But Selke, Davy Selke gets the goal there for Watford. I was going to say Watford, but no, it's Wolves. They get the goal for Wolves. 3-1. I mean, Ricky, unlucky, mate. There's nothing really you could have done there. I definitely feel like they got lucky there to get that goal. So, hey man.
For the defence, you want to have a clean sheet because it's
there we go.
An easy game for them and maybe lost concentration for a second there.
Why would you head that? Where's the volley? Volley that. Volley that.
Yeah, not his best effort, that's for sure.
Volley that, man.
No surprise there.
Oh, do you know? Do you know what I should do? Do I have a Adama Traore on the bench? Oh, I don't have a Adama Traore on the bench. I should have put Adama Traore on the bench. That would have been fun, wouldn't it? David Martin would have saved that. I mean, he probably would have, to be fair. Probably would have. But then again, David Martin's what, like 27, 28? I don't even know how old David Martin is. Is he old? How old is he?
And looking at my watch, 4 minutes left.
Oh, Sanchez. Ribas. What are you doing? Killing me. That's what you're doing. That ball is too hard. There we go. Easy.
Well, they're singing the praises of
last couple of minutes now in this game. The final game on the stream today against Wolves. 3-1 victory looks like to be secured. Trying to add more goals right at the end now. Sanchez Ribas. Defence splitting pass. There we go. Sanchez Ribas just before the end of the second half. Picks up a goal. Look at that. Oh yeah. Oh, bust a move. Oh. There we go. Oh, I just want to watch that. I just want to watch that celebration. I have no idea what buttons I press. I just want to watch that now. Busting a bloody move. Look at that. Absolutely sensational. 4 goals in the Premier League for Sanchez Ribas. There we go. 4-1. Another away win. I don't know what it is. It just seems like the games that we sim are at home. And the games that we play always just happen to be away from home. Maybe I should start playing some home games, but I guess playing away from home means, you know, we're theoretically playing at home or simming away from... Simming at home should be a lot easier to win than simming away from home. So... David Martin's 38, really? Oh man. I thought he was like relatively young.
Some questions regarding the match.
You know, it was an overall great performance, you know. De Vecchi was fantastic, got the double. I mean, give them full credit, they did play their best and they managed to get a goal back. So, I think the scoreline was definitely unfair to them in some aspects.
Thank you so much.
They played well, but it just wasn't good enough, to be honest. Was not good enough. So, you can see on the screen, the next game, in the next episode, or the next live stream rather, at the start of the live stream, we're going to be playing against Spurs in the Carabao Cup. So, I mean, I've simmed through the Carabao Cup so far. So away from home, maybe I play it, maybe I don't. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what we're gonna do in that game and in the next live stream. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna quickly have a look. Oh, we're gonna sort out this Edson raise. Okay, mate, calm down, please. Calm down. Don't be angry with me, okay? I mean, we've got 72.78 million. Look, profit margin. Where's our profit margin? Oh, come on, 96%. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, right? Maybe that takes into account, like, player spend and stuff. I don't know. But what we're going to do, we're going to look at the leagues. Let's pick the competition. Let's have a look at the Premier League. Let's see how we're doing. I think we're still around mid-table, but we'll just double-check. Have I gone past it? I think I have. I think I'm just being blind. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Maybe it's down towards the bottom. Maybe? Am I being blind? Someone tell me where the Premier League is. What? Where is the Premier League on that list? The Premier League is not on that list. Huh? Why can I not see the Premier League on that? Can someone tell me where the Premier League is on this list? EFL Championship, EFL League 1, EFL League 2, Liga 1, Bundesliga, Bundesliga 2. The Premier League doesn't seem to be appearing on this list. So unfortunately I can't show you guys where we are in the Premier League for some reason. MLS, Super League, RSL, Allsvenskan, La Liga, La Liga Santander, Scottish Prem, whatever that is, Liga, whatever that is. Where is the Premier League on here? Eredivisie, Liga Mexico, the Korean League, Japanese League, Serie A, Bundesliga 2, Bundesliga there, Domino's League 2, Liga, EFL League 2, EFL League 1, Championship. The Premier League is just not there, guys. I don't know what's going on. Some reason we can't see the Premier League table at the moment, but it doesn't really matter, does it? I think we're around mid-table in the Premier League. But yeah, like I say, the first game in the next live stream is going to be against. I was about to say against Grimsby. No, we're going to be against Spurs in the EFL Cup away from home. I'm not sure what round it was. So it's round 4. I'm not sure what that is. Is that like quarterfinals maybe, or like the final stage of the knockout round? I don't know. But yeah, we're going to be playing against Spurs away from home at the start of the next live stream. So, like I say, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming in and hanging out as always. And yeah, like I say, I will see you guys in the next live stream. Maybe not tomorrow, potentially on Sunday. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I will see you guys later. Hope you guys have a good rest of your evening and enjoy the rest of your weekend as well. But yeah, for now, guys, I will see you guys later. Peace.